Wake up, rise and shine. It's a brand new day with Mona News. It's time to have your say. She's got the scoop, the stories, all the latest trends. Mo's got the news, let's hear it. My dear friends, from politics to showbiz, no story's too small. Mo covers it all. She's got the inside call, her voice so smooth, like honey in the summer sun. With Mo on the mic, you know the news is always fun. Mornings with Mo, the best newsy news in the world. With her style so classic and her stories unfurled, from morning till night, she's got us in the know. Turn on your radio, let Mo's newsy news flow.
For the love of all that is Cheetos, of course I'm muted because why not? I think that the wig I think the wig it transferred some Lynette Boomerism to me. To be fair though, I am quite capable of doing my own boomer tech on my own, so you know, it could possibly just be me, but I am going to blame Lynette, okay? I'm blaming Lynette. Anywho, welcome. And uh, as I said before when I was muted, Christine, I'm so glad that you are here. I hope you take this opportunity to rest and get to feeling better. Please rest. My confession earlier when I was muted, so uh, I have a terrible, terrible time resting, and it really has hindered some of my process until I learned how to semi rest. Look, you cannot take an ADHD person who is also to type A to function and have normal rest capacities. But I do, just do 15 minutes of work for every hour or 2 hours. Um, so I'm getting better at this resting thing, but not really. Anywho, let's get to the news. Welcome, everyone. I did say hi to everyone when I was muted, so another Redux hi, hi part deux, if you will. Our first story is an amazing, badass little boy who saved his father's life. A 12-year-old boy, okay, a black bear did lose its life, so I understand some people do like aminals. I like aminals too, but not when they're mauling, loved ones of mine. If it's between, nose powder, cocaine bear, and my husband, I think I'm going to pick my husband. Not that I don't like, the bear, but I don't want to take out the trash, to be honest. I'm just kidding. I love Mr. Mo for more than taking out the trash. A 12-year-old boy fatally shoots a black bear mauling his dad during a hunt in Wisconsin. I did not know you could hunt bears, but hey, I am learning all the new things about hunting. Ryan Bierman said that his son had shot and wounded the bear before they came upon it again and it attacked. Okay, I kind of understand the bear being pissed off at all of you guys. I can sort of understand why the bear may have felt attacked. if you kind of set a freedom seed toward it and it was hurt. In Siren, Wisconsin, a 12-year-old boy ended a wounded black bear as it was mauling his father near their hunting cabin in the thick western Wisconsin woods. Ryan Bierman, 43, told the Minnesota Star Tribune, why is the Minnesota Star Tribune asking questions about a Wisconsin story? And then why is, okay. Anywho, let's get back to this and not go. My Tumblr does completely explain this situation. I do not have my ducks in a row. I have squirrels and they're everywhere. Oh, I don't know geography. You guys know that I am the reincarnated, tour leader of the Donner Party. I should never be trusted with directions. I give everyone this warning. I just can't. I shouldn't be allowed. Now, the father says that while he was pinned down beneath the 200-pound brown bear on September 6th, his son Owen fired a shot from his own hunting rifle. Quote, Owen was a hero. He shot the bear and killed it on top of me, said Bierman, who suffered bites to his forehead, leg, and arms. He also needed stitches to reattach a flap of skin on his cheek that was ripped during the attack. Look, there's a reason, y'all. I was going into surgical technology, and this only gets more hilarious because I found out maybe class 1 that I pass out at the sight of blood, and I was going to be the chick that hands like the pliers and the clamps and the, I don't know, charging pads to the surgeon. Terrible. So I don't know that I would have been in any way able to render aid. I'm hoping that I would have, come up with that superhuman power that like chicks lift an entire Dodge Neon up off of their children, and I wouldn't have passed out, because this boy is badass right here. I am a grown-up woman who semi has her poop in a group, and I am not sure that I would have the skill, the presence of mind to react the way he did. So what an absolute hero. His father is right. Earlier, he and Owen had spotted the bear from a tree stand near Siren, Wisconsin, about 90 miles northwest of Minneapolis. Owen fired a shot, wounding the bear, which ran away. The pair waited about 20 minutes before they started to look for... Okay, hunters in the chat, I really don't know any of this, and this is, even if my tone sounds smart-assy, it is not. I have what is called unintentional sarcasm tone. I coined the syndrome myself, but I'm actually being earnest, and people think I'm being sarcastic. Could be that 90% of what I say is sarcastic, but I'm going to go ahead and put it on a medical condition. Do you generally shoot like to wound and then you follow the creature that you hunted, or are you trying to... And this is not, again, a sarcastic question. Do you then follow if you wound instead of it going down right there? I don't know anything about hunting, which is why I'm asking questions in earnest, but I do have a sarcasm delivery illness. I really do. Now, they did try to use the neighbor's tracking dog to find it. Quote, we were sort of hung up in a thicket where we heard the dog yelp and sprint past us in retreat. I think that's when I would be running, you'd see the little smoke thing, like the Wile E. Coyote. If the dog is running and yiping, I am getting my behind out of there too. I am shuffling fastly. Bierman told the newspaper, just then I stepped into a semi-clearing and said, here he is, Owen. The bear charged from about 6 feet away. Bierman said he fired 8 shots at the animal with his pistol, but all missed. Before I knew it, I was flat on my back, he recounted. I started pistol whipping him, and it felt like I was striking a brick wall. I tried hitting him between the ear and mouth with the blunt edge of the pistol. The bear then lunged at Bierman's head. All I could see were claws and teeth, he said. I lifted my right arm to block him. I remember the first bite. I heard a crunch. The bear was still attacking, and he wasn't going to leave me. The bear was still fighting for its life, and I was fighting for mine, Bierman added. I'm punching, kicking, and flailing around, and that's when I saw a flash from the muzzle of Owen's rifle. Bierman was unable to push the bear off of him. He estimated that the attack lasted about 45 seconds. A neighbor began driving Bierman and Owen to the hospital. They were met by an ambulance, which took them the rest of the way. The wound on his cheek would require 23 stitches. There were 7 puncture wounds, and a cut on Bierman's right arm. Mr. Bierman, not for nothing, and I'm so happy that you survived, but could you send us pictures of your arm? There's a certain case where we're trying to figure out, headlight versus aminal, and I think that your arm pictures could be of use. A conservation officer with the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources said that their hunt was legal. So I guess in Wisconsin they have a bear season. Maybe I don't know how any hunting works, so I'm not going to say any more other than, young man, you saved your father's life. You showed more, calm, grace under fire, and bravery than I think I could even muster. And okay, that's not a high bar, sir, but I am deeply impressed, and I think that is a wonderful thing and absolutely awesome. Just awesome. And, I wish everyone would be able to react in emergency situations like he did, with a calm head. Well, yeah, but I just think maybe we can test a bear versus, I just want Car Daddy back, and if we have him, simulate a bear attack versus a headlight attack, it will just make my life. This is why I'm not in charge of anything, because holy fazolies, can you imagine the shenanigans? I am going to need all operators of Lord Chippy on standby, because what the hell article or headline that did I read? What in the Walmart rapture y'all want final form Jesus down here is this headline? Because you guys know I generally just read the headlines and read the entire article with you guys to get kind of my first response. But a 27, like, what in the freaking oh gosh, she's the man, is this is like a high school plot of never been kissed. This is not appropriate. A 27-year-old Nebraska man who posed as a high schooler was sentenced to at least 85 years for SA. I can't. Zachary Sitch, who prosecutors said identified himself as a 17-year-old named Zach Hess, pled guilty to SA and other crimes. Yes, because even if you identify as a 17-year-old, you're still 27, and if you try to get with anyone's daughters. Okay, public service announcement for anyone thinking this is a plan. Look at me. I am semi put together. What you do not want to see, teachers of children and people who want to pretend to be teenagers, what you do not want to see is Crazy Mo before she even brushes her hair. Full on hillbilly crazy mode, because I will revert to my heel chuck roots. Curlers in the hair, a bathrobe on, fuzzy slippers, and, a flannel pajamas under it. What you do not want to see is me marching my ass up to your door in this getup with a Bible and channeling my great-grandmother. Because my great-grandmother, I should have remembered this before I named my middle daughter her name. I should have realized that I should not have given her a strong woman name from our past. Should have given her a name like Tranquility. Anywho, teenagers. But my grandmother in the late 60s, and I want you to remember this time, my grandfather, this is my great-grandmother, and she was my grandfather's mother, and not to get too deep into things, but he had a family at home, and he wanted to stay with a lady, not his wife. And my grandmother, or great-grandmother, I never met her, but my mother has said she was about all of 5 foot. marched up to that other woman's house and slammed a Bible in her hand and said, I best believe you need to be reading this, and send that man home to his wife. Now, if that is not the most, like, Grambo thing I have ever heard, again, you do not want my ass in curlers back in my heel chuck roots bringing you a Bible to your door. You do not want that happening. So maybe don't pretend to be a damn teenager, you weirdo. A 27-year-old Nebraska man who posed as someone a decade younger and attended high school for more than 50 days was sentenced to at least 85 years in prison in connection with SA charges. A Lancaster County judge sentenced Zachary Sitch last week after he pled no contest in July to first-degree SA, attempted first-degree SA, generation of child grossness images, age 19 or over, child enticement with electronic communication, according to a sentencing order and plea agreement. Sitch's sentence runs a maximum of 120 years in prison, according to the order, and he won't be eligible for parole for 40 years, according to KOLN TV of Lincoln. Can you imagine him on, Gen Pop, in initiation day, intake day, where they're like, what are you in for? And one guy's like, I robbed a 7-Eleven. The other guy's like, I killed a man. And he's like, I pretended to be a teenager so I could score with girls. Yeah, I think allegedly in Minecraft, some Gen Pop justice might be happening here to this gentleman. Sir, I would lie and say you went on a high-speed chase. I'm just saying. I'm throwing that out there. Tell people you robbed like a puppy store. I would not let what you are actually charged with get out. Allegedly in Minecraft, but I do like to help people. At his sentencing hearing, Lancaster County Deputy Attorney Amber Schulte said Sitch, quote, targeted, groomed, and lured students via social media while pretending to be their peer or their boyfriend. What a gross, disgusting thing to do. I mean, not only is high school where you are building the foundations of what your boundaries are going to be, you have, okay, not me, but generally, young people are play acting relationships. They're trying to figure out what their boundaries are. And for someone to intentionally and with knowledge of how naive, how trusting, and that power dynamic, that age difference, to lure and utilize young girls' intense feelings against them is just beyond gross. And again, sir, I implore you, these girls have parents, and we will go full honey badger. I just can't. Now, the public defender's office that represented the gross person did not immediately respond for a request for comment on Wednesday night. Sitch identified himself as Zach Hess, 17, and attended 2 high schools in Lincoln, Northwest High School and Southeast High School, for 54 days in 2022-23 school years. He was admitted to the school using fake documents, including a birth certificate, immunization records, a transcript, and medical records, the officials said. A spokesperson for the district where he attended high school also did not respond for a request for comment Wednesday. Authorities began investigating the defendant in June 2023 after a concerned parent contacted the school district. Police announced his arrest in July. So I will say for this county, they took care of business relatively quickly when it comes to a court proceeding. If they started investigating him in July 2023 and we now have a sentence in 2024 with the backlog that we still have from the COOF, I mean, it is absolutely, this is very speedy in relation to court trials. The charging documents show that the crimes he pled guilty to were mostly occurring in 2000. I don't believe this is the Lincoln Police Department in Lincoln, Nebraska. So this is where that story took place. There are no other pictures, so I just landed on this one. Yeah, I mean, a guy comes in with male pattern baldness, but here's where I will give the high school a little bit of grace because my 2 daughters are currently in high school, and I can tell you there is there is a big divide. You either have young men who look like they're 11 to 11 and a half. I assume these are freshmen, and then you have men with full ass beards and look like they are going to an Al Borland convention. They're wearing flannels, and I'm like, "Sir, I need to see your birth certificate. I think you're about 45. Come here." I This is ridiculous. And I also would like to complain because there are one of these cashiers in my local Kroger. He has a full beard, wears a flannel, looks like he's going to a Tool Time convention. I to try to take my wine to him because I'm age profiling him at 26. I get all the way up there and he's like, "Ma'am, I'm sorry, but I can't ring out your booze. I'm not old enough." I'm like, "The hell are we feeding these children?" You are certainly corn-fed, sir. I age profiled wrong, but I would like to lodge a complaint. If you look like you're 47, don't give me grief when I, oddly assume that you're old enough to ring out my booze. Then you have to call over. Yeah. Al Borland was from, oh gosh, Home Improvement. Uh, the Tim Allen, really popular show. So when I see a guy in flannel with a beard, I swear it reminds me of Al Borland. Well, and authorities, so the basically he lured around young girls pretending to be their age, got in a relationship with some of them, obviously knew what to say because he was 27 freaking years old. So this is just gross. Several of his victims were under the age of 16, and one was 13 or older. Sir, again, lie about what you did because you do not want people knowing you screwed around with young children. This is just gross. Do not try this. I don't know why anyone would. That's it. I'm moving to the Netherlands. In an update to an almost week-long story, a body believed to be the Kentucky highway shooter Joseph Couch was found by a bounty hunting YouTuber during a live stream. Oh my Lanta. God bless us YouTubers for bringing you, well, true crime stories right on live stream. A body believed to be the remains of the man who allegedly, well, he shot and wounded 5 motorists on a Kentucky highway. What his motivations were, or if this is the actual body, we are not quite sure. But it was found by a bounty hunting couple during a YouTube live stream, state police announced. Officials believe that the quote-unquote deteriorated remains belong to Joseph Crouch, 32, based on the clothing found on the body and the suspect's description. Colonel Philip P.J. Burnett said at a press conference, according to WLWT5, the body is being transferred to the medical examiner to make an official identification as well as to determine the cause of death. I don't generally hope for people to be dead, but I do hope that they get swift answers so the people, the everyday average people, the school children that have been afraid to go to school, the person just going out to get their mail, hopefully we can get some peace restored in this area because I can't imagine how the last 7 days have been for the people living around here. Thank you for the super chat. And he does look high AF. I mean, those are some Jim Brewer eyes if I have ever seen them. I do feel bad for Jim Brewer, though, for a man that, states he was not always under the influence of devil's lettuce. He surely did look like it all the time. And I will recommend, I know a lot of you either A, don't care about religion, or B, would rather not. But if you are interested in it at all, um, an unlikely source of a great testimony, and a real testimony, is Jim Brewer, as his wife is battling cancer. I mean, absolutely one of the most beautiful things I've ever heard. And I also love his comedy. So please bring back Goat Boy, sir. America needs you. The world needs to heal. Bring back Goat Boy. Thank you so much, Jedi Jess. And yes, Nanny Go, I do not know if they get paid less. I am only going by the knowledge I obtained by really poor Westerns filmed in the 70s, that those posters generally say dead or alive. But, you know, I don't know specifically, and I don't know that Bonanza is going to help me with this. Maybe Gunsmoke will. These are the two YouTubers that found YouTube account Hatfield McCoy Museum Adventures was credited by the Kentucky State Police for finding them. So, you know what? As much as I joke that, of course, it was YouTubers, these people are giving their time to try to help a community. Yeah, they're grifting on it, but who doesn't? It's YouTube. But they were trying to do their part to, end the situation. And I'm glad they found something, and hopefully these community, all these innocent people can get some answers. Officers from multiple agencies had been searching for the armed and dangerous man for a week and a half since September 7th shootings on Interstate 75 near London, Kentucky, and had combed through approximately 28,000 acres of dense woods in the Daniel Boone National Forest, only to turn up empty. The couple behind the YouTube account Hatfield McCoy Museum Adventures was credited by the Kentucky State Police for the discovery and will be awarded $15,000 from Laurel County Crime Stoppers and $10,000 from a private donor, the local news station reported. The YouTubers and self-proclaimed bounty hunters, Fred and Sheila McCoy, were live streaming their search for Crouch through thick woods when they made a shocking discovery on camera. The video shows the couple following vultures circling overhead and tracking a foul odor of something dead through the heavy brush. When Fred screams out, "Oh, found him," he yelled out to the officers nearby, who they had called. "Here he is. Oh, my Atlanta, you found him," his wife Sheila replies in the clip. "He's deteriorated," Fred shouts out. I love that they're just having just like a normal, like, "I found the mayo." "Okay, Cletus, where was it?" "Well, it is bad. It was on the counter for 3 days. It was right in front of you. Wear your glasses." I just I just love that they're having like a normal conversation as they find this incredibly wanted man. And she doesn't even curse. You know what? My invisible hat off to you, because I think I would have been saying a whole lot of cursey words. And I might spray the body with holy water because I'm not getting infected with a ghost. Just not happening. The camera then zooms in on the remains lying on a patch of dirt with human legs clearly visible in the fuzzy footage. "Oh, gross," Sheila says, who's filming. Officers off camera can then be heard shouting, "No pictures," as Fred appears to snap a selfie of the body with his phone. I am truly happy and that they have found someone, so now I can just laugh at the absurdity of two YouTubers finding it, her yelling out, "Oh my Lanta," and then the cops like, "No selfies." And they're like, "Ew, it's gross. You want to poke it with a stick?" As a mother with boy children, I can tell you poke it with a stick is always the first in that little logic, kind of yes, no tree. Uh, the first boy answer to nearly everything will be poke it with a stick, and that can take on different meanings, but there you go. As a boy mom can confirm. I guess it would just be a photo. True. Again, news, if it bleeds, it leads. I get that. I am just in my head, it goes something like Lurleen and Cletus instead of probably the semi-professionalness of, this couple. So I don't know. He allegedly shot 5 people as they drove on I-75 and caused a crash that injured 2 others. All of the victims survived, though some, including a person who was shot in the face, suffered serious injuries, officials said. Police uncovered a silver SUV registered to Couch and an AR-15 rifle abandoned near the exit early in their search. Investigators are still searching for a motive in the mass shooting and said road rage was not a factor. They believe Couch planned the attack ahead of time but picked his targets at random. Neighbors of the gunman said that he had threatened them with a force multiplier and was not, mentally well before the shooting. One of the neighbor's 3 dogs were found dead after he confronted Couch about throwing a rock at his pets. So, all joking aside, I am very happy that this community can take a sigh of relief, and hopefully they have expedited the coroner looking at him. So, have a great day, greedy bloke, and hope it's wonderful. So I'm glad that the kids can go back to school. Parents can let their kids play outside without fear that someone's going to walk out of the woods or, there is going to be another attack. So wonderful. And use that. Use your reward money. Take your wife on a cruise and maybe don't find any dead bodies there because it's never a mannequin. Things are not going well for the OceanGate people. I know Vices is covering this, and he is much more knowledgeable than me about all things nautical. So if you want a good take on the real nitty-gritty of this this hearing, then definitely I would encourage you to go and watch what he's done and the live streams that he's done on this topic, because I can make jokes, but I really don't know anything about marine stuff as well, per se. OceanGate whistleblower details Titan's, quote, appalling flaws and says CEO Stockton Rush did things on the cheap. This would be Stockton Rush. Unfortunately, he also perished in the implosion. OceanGate's former director of marine operations detailed the appalling faults with the original model of the doomed Titan submersible that he refused to sign off on, and detailed how its CEO liked to do things on the cheap. David Lockridge was hired by OceanGate in 2016 as a veteran diver and submersible pilot, but he was removed from the Titan project after he repeatedly clashed with CEO Stockton Rush. He told the U.S. Coast Guard Marine Board of Investigation Tuesday morning, quote, the whole idea of the company was to make money. There was very little in the way of science, Lockridge said. Lockridge detailed So Stockton liked to do things on the cheap, Lockridge said of his former boss, who perished alongside adventurer Hamish Harding, Titanic explorer Paul and Henri Nargeolet, and multimillionaire Shahzada Dawood and his son Suleiman Dawood. When the Titan imploded near the wreck of the Titanic in June 2023. Lockridge was particularly concerned that the hull of the Titan, where passengers will sit, was made from carbon fiber, and it was only about 5 inches thick. And the only joke I have ever made about this is, as a former female teen driver, rest in pieces, all those mailbox, 90% of my car was Bondo. I regret nothing. No, I regret all the things. Like I said, rest in pieces, those mailboxes. I would not trust my bondoed car to go see the Titanic. I think I would go with Flex Seal if I'm honest. Why the hell were you using Bondo? I swear to God. Lockridge was particularly so it's only 5 inches thick. The amount of pressure per square inch as you go to depths around the Titanic is astronomical. You have to take in to account with magical math that I don't understand, because once math started adding letters, I was like, this no mas. But you have to use, really you have to use science. You have to use people that fill chalkboards instead of with funny drawings like I do, with all those weird equations and stuff, and they look at it and they go, I mean, you need Beekman. Oh, by the way, we are going on a tangent because I would like to lodge a complaint with the Geneva Convention about something. So Mr. Mo and I did not want to make oldest daughter watch children while we went out on a date. And we decided to watch the new, or the new to us Ghostbuster, the one where everything freezes. That was an act of torture on par with having to listen to Zydeco music. Every single character was so dumb they could barely function in the world. Things only happened because a teenager was a brat and didn't care about her family and thought she would be better as a ghost. There was a honey trap that was you could see from 13 miles away. And all of the old characters were okay, but dumb. And all of the men, can we have a movie where all of the men aren't functionally window lickers or just patently bad at everything? And if I see one more preteen girl who has never had to do anything in her life, never had to achieve or struggle with anything, save the day, I'm just going to continue to watch Sailor Moon. That's the girl boss I like. And I am so irritated. Mr. Mo and I were so irritated he didn't even get mad at me for pointing out every logical plot hole, which I generally do. Hollywood, your audience is not functionally window lickers. We were capable, when you were still making good movies, of understanding subtext and, you showing us stuff, having a character say, the proton packs are dead. The proton packs are dead. We used to be able to convey that with, visual cues. We used to be able to sell a story without, random actors doing something that no logical functional human would ever do. Oh, I have a ball of evil. Sorry, spoiler alerts. I have a ball of evil here. No, I'm going to put it in this science testy thing. I mean, I just had someone give me the full rundown of this is a prison for an ancient evil, but I say we screw with it. I mean, again, Hollywood, get better writers. These writers apparently write at their level, and I don't know how you even finish the script in the crayon it was written in. Do better, Hollywood. Ugh. Anywho, I am so tired. And then the teen boy who is becoming a man, is constantly denigrated, made to act like a stupid moron. Again, as a mom, as a boy mom, I would love to be able to have my boys see heroic and good men. Men aren't perfect, women aren't perfect, but I am so tired of this girl boss who does, morally reprehensible things, but she's the hero. I cannot get behind a hero that I think is functionally stupid, doesn't make any choices that go with logic. She's supposed to be, this very smart kid and does things that are just weird. Anywho, it was a terrible movie. Do not recommend. But I do want to see the new Beetlejuice movie. I do. We just felt we try not to, and we endeavor to not ask our oldest daughter because of oldest daughter syndrome to watch the children too frequently. I feel like, I want to break that cycle. And not that I found it, I love kids. I like spending time with kids. My oldest daughter doesn't. So when she does offer to watch the kiddos for me so we can go out, I will definitely take her up. But I don't like to ask her too much because I feel like that was something I was willing to offer to my mom because I like watching kids, but my daughter doesn't have the same sort of interests, and I don't want to push them on her. Anyhoozle, let's get to the next story. Well, we have finally figured out, is it blue or is it green? Psychologists have broken that, so I'm sure next year it will be how to deal with a-holes. Really, psychologists, could you just give me a screener for who's going to be a jerk face? Like, I'd like you to answer a couple questions. Do you like cheesecake or something? Just make them random questions and they automatically tell you if a person's an a-hole. Psychologist, could you work on that instead of what's blue and what's green? I'm just asking for a friend or for a me. Is it blue or green to you? A viral test created by a neuroscientist reveals your color perception. Well, will it tell me where my inner child and inner rage are located and where they hid my inner peace? Because that's also something I'd like to find. First, there was the dress, and then there were the sneakers. Now there is a debate over the color blue. If you've ever argued over or with a friend over something being blue or green, you are not alone. A new test is called "Is My Blue Your Blue?" It reveals how different or similar your color perceptions compare to everyone else. The experiment was created by a neuroscientist and AI researcher, Dr. Patrick Minault, and it started over a debate about a blanket. I'm a visual neuroscientist, and my wife, Dr. Marise Massi Solano, is an ophthalmologist. He told The Guardian, "We've had this argument about a blanket in our house, whether it is unambiguously green, like I think, or unambiguously blue." The researcher and programmer was working with AI-assisted coding tools and designed a color perception test. The website is My Blue. Well, let's go to it. Let's see if My Blue is correlated to everyone else's. I want to see if I'm normal. I don't know. This is blue. This is teal. It's blue. This is green. This is blue. This is green. This is blue. This is green. I know, it's riveting television. This is green. Your boundary of hue is 176, bluer than 75% of the population. For you, turquoise is green. Well, I am astonished. I am terrified for myself. I am more blue than green. I don't know what that means about what cheesecake flavor and Bridgerton character I will be. But there you go. The colors are often represented in HSL, hue, saturation, lightness of color space. The neuroscientist explained to Daily Mail, hue 120 is green, hue 220 or 240 is blue. The test focuses on blue-green hues between 150 and 210. However, if you see a color that you want to identify as somewhere in the middle, like turquoise, you still have to choose whether the color to you is blue or green. In early experiments, we found that people's responses cluster around 175, which coincidentally is the same HTML color turquoise. This is interesting because the nominal boundary between green and blue is 180, named the HTML color cyan, meaning most people's boundaries are shifting towards saying that cyan is blue. The user's ending threshold distribution is based on other people who also took the test so they can compare to general population. I love that song. I think so. Turquoise is more blue than green. I think the science is settled. We figured this out and we're done. People's perceptions are ineffable, and it's interesting to think that we have different views. I see this starting a lot of fights in households. Your green isn't my green. How dare you? In There is justice in the world. Again, God's mill or the universe's mill grinds slowly but relentlessly. The veteran CIA officer who drugged and SA'd dozens of women gets 30 years in prison. Well, I don't think he's smiling now. I mean, what a douche. Adjudicated douche, too. So I don't even have to say allegedly, and I love when that happens. A longtime CIA officer who drugged, photographed, and SA'd more than 24 women in postings around the world was sentenced to 30 years in federal prison Wednesday after an emotional hearing in which victims described being deceived by a man who appeared to be kind, educated, and part of an agency, quote, that is supposed to protect the world from evil. Well, that was your first mistake, y'all. Don't trust the government, especially the CIA. If it glows in the dark, do not trust it. Yes, Wolfram. Brian Jeffrey Raymond, with a graying beard and orange jumpsuit, sat dejectedly as he heard his punishment for one of the most egregious misconduct cases in the CIA's history, that they will admit to because it was found out. I added the aside, but I edited the article for a clearer picture. It was chronicled by his own library of more than 500 images that show him, in some cases, assaulting his unconscious victims. Sir, there are a few rules in crime, and I thought you would know this as the CIA. You were never there. There is plausible deniability, and you do not take photos. But I am glad you are an F-wit and didn't. So, I'm okay with you being in prison orange. It's safe to say that he is a sexual predator, U.S. Senior Judge Colleen Collier-Coulty said as she imposed the full sentence prosecutors had requested. You're going to have a period of time to think about this. Prosecutors say that 48-year-old Raymond's assaults date to 2006 and tracked his career in Mexico, Peru, and other countries, all following a similar pattern. He would lure the women he met on Tinder and other dating apps to his government-leased apartment, drug them while serving wine and snacks, and once they were unconscious, he would spend hours basically posing them, taking pictures, and assaulting them. He would open their eyelids at time and stuck his fingers in their mouths. One by one, dozens of Raymond's victims, who were identified only as numbers by the court, recounted how the longtime spy upended their lives. Some said they only learned what happened after the FBI showed them photos of being assaulted while unconscious. Quote, my body looks like a corpse on his bed, one of the victims said of the photos. Now I have these nightmares of seeing myself dead. And what an absolutely horrible thing to have to find out because you don't remember, because these drugs do mess with your memory. To find out when two feds come up to your door and say, hey, do you remember this? And they have to show you pictures of something that a trauma you didn't even know you had. I can't imagine how life upending that is. One described suffering a nervous breakdown, while one spoke of recurring trance that caused her to run into red lights while driving. Many told how their confidence and trust in others has been shattered forever. Quote, I hope he is haunted by the consequences of his actions for the rest of his life, said one of the women, who, like others, stared Raymond down as they walked away from the podium. Reading from a statement, Raymond told the judge that he has spent countless hours contemplating his downward spiral. Well, how about we get you a notebook and a chalkboard, and you can just quotation that all out. I want you to use both the transitive property and SOHCAHTOA from trigonometry. So I would like you to build a parallelogram of suck that explains you, please, sir. I betrayed everything I stand for, and I know no apology will ever be enough, he said. There are no words to describe how sorry I am. Oh, I have a couple thoughts, but I can't say them on YouTube. But you are one sorry MFer, sir. And stay away from your mother. I don't trust you near your mother, too. So, bad choice of words. You are a sorry dirtbag. That's not who I am. No, that's exactly who you are. The repeated behaviors done by someone, that's exactly who you are. Nice try. Raymond's sentencing comes amid a reckoning on sexual misconduct at the CIA. The Associated Press reported last week that another veteran CIA officer faces state charges in Virginia for allegedly reaching up a coworker's skirt and forcibly kissing her during a drunken party at the office. I have a question, just a tiny one. Just paying your salary from my forced theft taxes. Why are you guys having drunken parties? I thought we were in the most super serial, dangerous, national security time of our democracy. For the love of all that is flippin' holy. Another former CIA employee and officer trainee is scheduled to face trial next month on charges that he assaulted a woman with a scarf in a stairwell at the agency's Langley, Virginia headquarters. That case emboldened some 24 women to come forward to authorities and Congress with accounts of their own SAs, unwanted touching, and what they contended are the CIA's efforts to silence them. And yet the full extent of sexual misconduct at the CIA remains classified secret in the name of national security, including a recent 648-page internal watchdog report that found systematic shortcomings in the agency's handling of such complaints. Quote, the classified nature of activities allows the agency to hide a lot of things, said Lisa Mundy, author of, quote, Sisterhood, The Secret History of Women in the CIA. The male-dominated agency, she said, has long been a refuge for egregious sexual misconduct. For decades, men at the top had free reign. The CIA has publicly condemned Raymond's crimes and implemented sweeping reforms intended to keep women safe, streamlined claims, and more quickly discipline offenders. Well, I'm glad the CIA has looked at themselves and corrected their own problems. I find that very reassuring. It's just like when, the crazy guy down the street says he's prayed to God, so we're all saved from the rapture. I feel safer. Just the CIA is going to deny. And again, when in our republic did we decide to give, letter agencies their own oversight? This is not ever how this is supposed to have happened. These agencies should not be allowed to withhold documents during, fact-finding things from Congress. Hell, they should be able to tell us some stuff. Why again am I paying taxes so you guys can drunkenly assault women? I mean, I figured that's what we had Harvey Weinstein for. And, I didn't think we needed a return to that. Absolute power draws a certain type of people. There are mostly good people, but these positions of power in which you can lord over things on people, where you can have ultimate power of the government behind you to settle personal grudges or things like that. It is the One Ring, and cast it into the fire of Mount Doom. The FBI was never supposed to be a contemporaneous and forever flowing organization. It was only for prohibition. Mr. Mo would like that. All of Hollywood. I'm just tired of these organizations saying we took a look at ourselves and we in fact are doing awesome. For our final story, parents, watch your kids. What the hell is going on here? I cannot, you guys. An 8-year-old girl decided she needed a Target run. It was a Target emergency. So she took her mom's SUV on a solo Target run. Mom was, I don't know, apparently unconscious. And from those of us who grew up wild, feral, latchkey children, millennials, youngish children, teens, let me explain to you that most of us would still be in the ICU in a coma from the flip-flop that our mom threw at our head at sonic speed, had we done this. I don't know about gentle parenting with all these stories I'm doing. An 8-year-old girl took an SUV from her Ohio home and drove miles to a store where she was later found unharmed, authorities said. The girl, whose name was not released, and the vehicle, a 2020 Nissan Rogue, were reported missing about 9 a.m. Sunday. Bedford police said family members said they had last seen the girl at the residence about 2 hours earlier. As police launched an investigation, they learned a small child had been spotted driving a vehicle on a nearby road, but that vehicle could not be located. The SUV eventually was found a short time later in the parking lot of a Target store in Bainbridge, which is nearly 13 miles away from her home. The police soon found that the child was by herself inside the store. She told officers she had struck a mailbox while driving. Can confirm, female teen driver. As a destroyer of mailboxes, I feel seen. The authorities did not say why she had decided to travel to Target or provide further details about her trip. The girl is too young to be charged criminally, police said. It wasn't clear Monday if any charges would be filed in the matter, but it remains under investigation. The force is strong with this one. She's like, she is my little acolyte. I am the Sith Lord of mailbox destruction. Bobby Baloney, I'm a Gen-lennial. I reject my millennial label, and she was 8, Jedi Jess, 8. Now, I don't know how she learned to drive. I mean, only one mailbox was harmed when I was 16 years old and had the full benefit of, comprehensive driving education. There are 4 mailboxes that were lost. It was a tragic accident. A couple housekeeping things because that was our last story. So at 10, I will be starting the interrogation of Wade Wilson. I will let you guys know that I have not followed this case, but I was recommended this interrogation by Sal, and Sal has said that this is full of the most ridiculousness. So I am here for it. And because I am an awful semi-professional YouTuber, I forgot about Sarah's hearing today, but we will be having a very special after-school Sarah special, a very Sarah special, where we will go over the hearing instead of Newsy News. I'm going to be starting that at 6 p.m. So a little bit earlier, but I don't know how long this hearing is going to last. But we will have all the petty, all the Moisms, and I will see if some other people can, show up. Yes, there's a Boone hearing this morning. I will not be covering it live, but I will be definitely covering it this evening in the very Sarah special. It's like an after-school program from the early 90s. You learn not to do drugs or be an absolute dumpster fire human. It's fun. You learn a lesson. I mean, it's great. So we will be going to do that. And if you guys would like to learn about Wade Wilson with me, because I have not seen this case at all, I am having a lot of fun going and looking at cases that I'm not too familiar with and kind of getting in those because I love kind of going into cases that people have very strong opinions on and I don't, and then seeing where my opinion falls with, the general very, very delineated sides. But I will see you in about an hour. I am going to go clean the kitchen. My family thinks that I guess need a purpose in my life, so I have dishes in the sink. Now, don't be jealous. This glamorous life could too be yours. Just have children. I will see you guys in a little bit. I'm going to go do some chores, and then we will be back with the Blackboard of Truth. And then we will be going to Wade Wilson. So thank you for joining. If you enjoyed, if you think a friend would like these sort of absurd but breaking news stories, please share it. And as a favor to myself, but more importantly, all your other creators, make sure that you are still subscribed to, all of your favorite creators. If you haven't seen your creators in a while, YouTube likes to think it knows best for you and unsubscribe you. So definitely make sure that you are still subscribed. And thank you, Robert James, for becoming a member of the Church of Mo. We have dark chocolate sarcasm and gallows humor, but please, no audio assault weapons that are plastic recorders or patchouli oil instead of deodorant. You're allowed to wear a scotch of patchouli oil, but you still have to have deodorant. Those are the rules. Those are the only commandments. Okay, except for one other when I get my commune of introverts. You are free to love whomever you want as long as not puppies or children and have whatever kink you want. Just don't tell anyone unless I ask. And then I'm going to ask all the questions, so just be prepared. There you go. You're whatever you are, whoever you love is not a personality. Jeffrey Montgomery, young man, sir, Zimzer. I'm not going to assume anything. It is the year of our clown 2024, but I'm going to go with sir. Have you ever sat through 4 children, 1 hour hot cross buns experience? It's in surround sound, an acoustically terrible, cafeteria / auditorium. And then there's solos. Because little Timmy and little Sally have worked really hard to do their own hot cross buns. It is a Noriega out of the embassy sort of torture that should not be allowed. And when I am president, they will be outlawed. So that is what they have done with me. Absolutely. They need to be stopped. This is a real problem, and it will be my first and one of my only few executive orders. Have a good day, you guys. I will see you in just a little bit. I am going to get the chalkboard set up. I'm going to get some chores done, and then I will be back. Bye, you guys.